Hi again, grade 9s. Sorry, I got cut off on the last video, so let's just finish this last example up. It's kind of silly, I was like right at the bottom of the page, but oh well. Okay, so in this last example, if you watch this in 2 different days or something, just remember that we just did this example where we were trying to find the measure of certain arcs based on this diagram. Okay, if you had any issues with that, this is probably the hardest example of the lesson. Please feel free to message me. Okay, last but not least, we know that AC, so that's this line here, is a diameter. So that means it cuts the circle exactly in half. Then we want to find the measure of the arc DAB and the arc BCA. Okay, so if we take a look here, if we have this diameter AC, then we know that this is a semicircle and this is a semicircle, right? I mean, I know I'm drawing that really exaggerated, but you get the idea, right? Like that this half from C to A is a diameter, half the circle, sorry, is a semicircle, and then from C through B through A, that's the other semicircle. Okay, and the thing we know about a semicircle is it's 180 degrees, okay? So this all together is going to be 180, and this all together is going to be 180. And so using that information, we can determine the measure of the missing angles, okay? And the missing angles are going to help us determine the measure of the arcs that we're looking for, okay? So we can tell this angle here, that's supposed to be a little cute semicircle, didn't really work out there, but that is going to be 180 minus the 40 that's there, right? So that's going to give us 140 degrees. And we know that this portion is going to be 180 minus 80, that's already there. Okay, so that's going to give us 100 degrees. So again, remember, that's because we can split the circle in half with the diameter that's given here in the question. Okay, and when we do that, then we know that this part has to equal 180 degrees. So if we had 80 already, then we have 100 left to go. Okay, and that if this is all 180 degrees, then same logic. If we had 40 degrees already, then we have 140 left to go. Okay, now that we have all those pieces, we can find these 2 arcs. Okay, so first thing we have is we want to look for the arc that's labeled DAB. Okay. And we are going to just figure out first what is included in DAB, and then we are going to be able to put some numbers to it. Okay, so D is here, and then A is here, and then B is here. And remember that we're going to start at the starting letter, we're going to go around until we hit the middle letter, we're going to keep going around until we hit the last letter. Okay, so that's DAB there. So what we're saying is we want the angle, that is a major arc, right, that is in here. Okay, so we want what's the total amount of angle or a total number of degrees that's inside there. So we're just going to add up what we have there is equal to 100 degrees plus 140 degrees. So that's going to give us 240 degrees in total. All right, then the next one asks us for, let's see, arc BCA. Okay, so again, we're going to start at B, we're going to go through C, we're going to get to A. So we're going to start at B, go through C, and end at A. Okay, so that means we want this whole section of angles. Okay, and so we're just going to, again, add up the pieces that make up that major arc. Okay. So if I start at B, then I can see that we have an 80-degree section, and then we have a 40-degree section, and then we have a 140-degree section. Okay, so we can add that all up, and that is going to give me 260 degrees. The reason I paused is I just realized I didn't actually explicitly say that we can always recall that a central angle like this is going to have the same measurement as its arc. Okay, so just remember that that's how we found out the measure of each arc, is because we know that since these are all central angles here, so like this one, this one, this one, this one, right? They're all central angles, then they all have the same measurement as the arc that they're with. Okay, so that's kind of one of the main points of this lesson. I will just mention here on the video, and I will make a post as well, that the worksheet for this section you may find a little bit challenging, and that's totally fine. Okay, there are some questions in the worksheet that have a little bit of information from the next lesson as well. It's just like the way that my worksheet Creator is programmed, I couldn't separate everything from lesson 2 and lesson 3. Okay, so if you have any troubles with that, maybe just wait till the next video and then you can try them out. And if you're still having issues, of course, message me anytime. And the last thing I want to make note of is the note at the bottom of the page here. Okay, so you can see that we have the two arms of the angle, right? Like this one for angle ARD, for example. When we look at this piece here, that arc that goes with it, we call it's the intercepted arc. Okay, that is actually underlined in your notes, or sorry, that's a blank in your notes. It should be underlined in my notes. Okay, I'll just underline it here. Okay, so that you can put that into your notes. And that's a term that I'll be like using in the future in our notes and probably when I'm talking too. And the reason that it gets this name is because the angle intercepts the circle, right? Like it's like you can imagine these arms of the angle, they're like intercepting the circle, right? And so then that's why it's called the intercepted arc, because it gets intercepted by the angle. Okay, so there we go. That's all for this lesson. Let me know if you have questions. Okay, bye-bye.